Hello, folks. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. All right, first up tonight, my former boss, Donald Trump, may be under legal attack, perhaps indicted from charges brought by radical left prosecutor Alvin Bragg. Look, I'm not a lawyer. Sure looks like some more Trump Derangement Syndrome to me. Constitutional legal scholar Jonathan Turley calls it the made-for-TV Trump prosecution, high on ratings but short on the law. Turley said Bragg's case about allegations concerning Stormy Daniels is legally pathetic. That's from Mr. Turley. He reminds us, by the way, of the failed federal prosecution of former presidential candidate John Edwards. Just saying. Turley also reminds us that federal prosecutors dropped the case. The Federal Election Commission dropped the case. Former New York prosecutor Cyrus Vance dropped the case. Soros-backed Bragg actually shut the case down when he was first elected a couple years ago. Now he's trying to convert a misdemeanor into a federal felony, highly unlikely. The Wall Street Journal editorial board, which has been highly critical of former President Trump's post-presidency, they say it's impossible to overstate Mr. Bragg's bad judgment here. He would be resurrecting a 7-year-old case that even federal prosecutors refuse to bring to court. A number of lawyers believe the statute of limitations has run out. The Journal reminds that former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen is an admitted felon. Look, I myself strongly believe it's a politically charged prosecution. It's a zombie case, and it's an abuse of power. Whatever one thinks of Mr. Trump, like him, don't like him, I think common sense folks are going to see this as a Russian hoax to the 10th power. Even going back to the unfairness of the Mar-a-Lago invasion with its double standard, not applied to classified documents found by Joe Biden or, for that matter, even Mike Pence. The political left will go to any means to stop Mr. Trump from becoming president again. Any means, that is, besides an actual election. If this prosecution goes through, it'll be a political circus, which is just what the country does not need. I mean, look at, there's a lot of important issues right now in America. Among them, inflation, interest rates, possible banking crisis, catastrophic open border with Mexico, parental worries about their kids' education, massively unbalanced budgets, federal overspending, a lack of work requirements, even a lack of respect for work, the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the current Biden administration weakness in world affairs as China's Xi meets with Russia's Putin, the unmistakable feeling that America is moving in the wrong direction and has become an unhappy place. Look, I could name a lot more, but one thing's for sure. An alleged affair many years ago is not at the top of the public's worry list. Now, I will strongly suggest to my former boss that he not talk about public protests, because I think that's not going to lead to any good, and it would hurt his cause for fair justice. Now, I've said my piece in opposition to the left-wing weaponization of our legal system, which is despicable. We'll see what happens this week, all right? I'll just say to my former boss this evening, I wish you the best. Now, folks, we're going to speak to distinguished former prosecutor and national security expert Kash Patel in just a moment. But right after that, we're going to go back to the threatening bank crisis, which I do not think has yet completely run its course. And we will bring in distinguished former professor at NYU's Stern School of Business, that being Mr. William Silver, presently senior advisor at Cornerstone Research and author of The Power of Nothing to Lose, The Hail Mary Effect in Politics and War. And later on in the show, we're going to talk to the great Art Laffer.